We got Brian Jones, who's about to come on and blow your mind in terms of this golden path and truly connecting to your greatest possible self, your potential, your mind, body, spirit, getting everything into alignment so you can live your best life ever. So definitely stay tuned. We're going to dive into that in just a sec. Before that, though, I'm talking to you because you are becoming your greatest possible self. And I'm so grateful for you being here. I'm so grateful that you're on the journey, that you are a seeker, you are a 2%er, as Brian Jones would say, and we're going to dive into that, and you are on the journey. So I acknowledge you. Way to be on the journey, okay? Keep growing, keep showing up, keep taking one step at a time. And thank you for trusting us to support you. And for whatever those next steps are, take them. Have the courage, have the discipline, have the commitment, have the willingness to see that you are worth it. Whether it's continuing your journey with Brian, whether it's continuing your journey with us at Burn It Up Coaching, one of these other guests, we want you to take the next step. So do it. Next up is the iTunes review of the week. This week it's Anthony A93 who says, Chris, the man, burns. Every podcast episode gets better and better. Not only that, you can tell how present and interested Chris is in each of the experts he brings on the show. Amen. I love listening. I love learning. I love sharing this wisdom with you out there listening right now. So thanks for tuning in. Again, it wouldn't be possible without you in the audience. It also wouldn't be possible without epic guests like Brian, like all the guests who've been on today's marathon and every single marathon. So I appreciate how we all make the world go round. We get to have a lot of fun, definitely. So thanks for being here. If you want a chance to get shouted out on a future 12-hour live stream, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Greatest Possible Self on your favorite podcasting platform. And then you can give us a review. Let us know what you love, what you want to see more of, how we can improve the show for you. I always love that feedback. Thank you in advance for doing that. While you're there, definitely subscribe too so you can get all the latest updates and keep it coming, your greatest possible self. I'm going to introduce Brian in just a sec. Before that, though, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, be ready to take notes because we're going to dive into some gold that you can immediately apply to your life, to evolve yourself, to empower yourself, step into your courage, your confidence, the greatest version of you that you can be. So stay tuned all the way through to the end because one of these ideas has the power to change everything for you. Brian Jones is the founder of The Golden Path Coaching. His passion is helping other business owners who are struggling in their personal lives, and whether it's consulting them on different marketing strategies or helping them find their inspiration, he lives to help others take the first step into inspired action. He's also the co-host of the Jones Zone podcast, where he gives entrepreneurs and business owners a platform to share their stories. He and his brother have interviewed over 150 entrepreneurs, and he enjoys connecting with like-minded people. He is the father of two beautiful girls, Brenna and Bristol. He's also a big role model for me in my life. Consistency, showing up, just constantly being his greatest possible self. I'm blessed to have him in a mastermind that I'm a part of, and he's just an epic human being, and we're blessed to have him here with us today. Brian, are you ready to rock the house, my man?
Bro, I'm ready, man. I'm so ready.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, man.
Yeah.
We're diving right in today to the theme, which is run through the finish line, baby. What does that mean to you, Brian?
Chris, first of all, thank you so much for those words, affirming me. I love hearing good things about me, so appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me back on. I was on last year, so I'm excited for this, and I've been looking forward to it all day. So I appreciate it, and I honor you. Running to the finish line, man. That means a lot, man. I was pondering that as I was coming on here today, and something hit me, man. So there's this sprinting or finishing the race, right? Going through the finish line. As I was preparing for this, Chris, here's the thought that came, to me, and this was in my heart. I'm like, is there a finish line? Is there a finish line in life? I mean, like, think about it. A lot of the journey that I'm on right now is 1% daily growth.
Yeah. And
we can sprint to the finish line, and then what? For me, it's like, I don't want there to be a finish line. I want to continue to improve each and every single day, knowing that the highest self, my highest self, is almost there. I'm stepping into it more and more every single day. Yeah. That's what came to me as I was like thinking about that just before the show started and throughout the day. I was like, that is what really resonates with me at this moment.
I love it, man. I've consistently heard that type of response from our guest today, and I think it's a marker of becoming your greatest possible self, which is enjoying the journey, not
Sure.
being attached to some kind of destination, some kind of external results, getting the cars, getting the women, getting the houses, whatever it is, right? Or men
Yeah.
for whoever wants men.
Yeah. For
So
so
like,
long, dude, yeah, for so long, that's what I was like, "All right, if I could just get this, and then this will
yeah.
come, I'll have the money, then I'll be happy, then I'll be successful." Man,
Mm.
that's an internal journey, man. That's an internal journey.
Yeah, dude, I
You
love
can't
it. And
rely on.
you're all about that internal journey. That you're doing some deep work, man, with your story, with your journey. So tell us a little bit more about the Golden Path and what you're working on today, how you're serving your clients today, man.
So the golden path came to me around this time last year, and it's been something that it's been like a passion project for me, man. I was going through a really difficult time, to say the least. I had tried my hat, tried many different hats. You know, I was trying marketing, I was doing real estate, I was trying to get that instant gratification. You know, a lot of us entrepreneurs do that, man. We try to get that instant gratification, and we don't want to put the work in or the grit. We don't have that grit to continuously develop and improve. And we want it to be now. Now that's the society we're living in, instant gratification. So but during this part, I lost myself. I really
Mm,
did, and but I still wanted to inspire people, but I found myself not being inspired myself,
mm,
and my actions weren't aligned with my thoughts. So here I am thinking I'm going to inspire all these people. I'm going to change the world. I'm going to, in some cases, whether it was real estate, I'm going to get this $1 million listing. I wasn't doing the work necessary. And that in turn messed with my confidence, messed with my esteem.
mm.
So when I was coming up with the idea for the golden path, I had all these ideas, but you know what they say about ideas. They're useless unless you take action. So
Yeah.
one of my mentors, Carl Eklund, him and I were driving down to Florida for a convention last February, and I was talking to him about it. We had a long drive from
Mhm.
driving from Charlotte to Miami, and I was telling him all about the Golden Path, this idea that I have, and he's like, "What do you have on paper, or do you have anything written down?" I was like, "No, I don't." I was like, "No, maybe I should do that."
Yeah.
So during the drive, during the trip, he helped me come up with the structure
Mm.
of the Golden Path. I knew that it was going to have a lot to do with Napoleon Hill's work, Outwitting the Devil,
Yep.
and I broke it up into different modules. You know, there's awareness, there's relationships, there's emotional healing, there's business.
Mhm.
So diving really deep and getting the ideas on paper was absolutely necessary for me to do that. So yeah, about 4 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, I was just in a bad place. I was like, I put it off on the bat, like those limiting beliefs came
Mhm.
in and they consumed me, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh man, who's gonna buy this? Nobody's gonna, and I even talk about it now in the Golden Path. I talk about it. There's the good wolf, there's and the evil wolf, right?
Yeah.
Have you heard that Cherokee parable? That
Yeah. Yeah.
parable?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like there's a parable in case you're watching this and you don't know. Um, an old Cherokee chief is talking to his grandson, and he said, "Grandson, there's a battle going on inside of me,
Mhm.
and it's between two wolves. One wolf is evil. He represents greed, self-loathing, self-doubt, hatred, jealousy, rage, anger, false pride. And there's also a good wolf. He represents love, joy, happiness, compassion, empathy. And the same battle that's going on inside my head is going on inside your head. It's going on inside everyone's head." And the young boy looked up to his grandfather and he says, "Well, which wolf will win?" And the wise Cherokee chief looked down at his grandson and says, "The one you feed."
Mhm.
So inside of you, Chris, inside of me, inside of everybody watching this, there's a good wolf and there's an evil wolf. There's a higher self and then there's a lesser self. So becoming aware that becoming aware of that is absolutely crucial.
Yeah, man.
And because once you decide that the lone wolf will win, that the higher self is going to control the future, you realize that you hold the pen. You can control your future based on which wolf you feed. And that right there,
It's power.
power, man.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's I think a lot of people feel so victim or so at effect of their
Yeah.
circumstances, and they're giving all
And I
their
get it.
power
Yeah.
away. They're drifting, right? So I want to go
They're
into
just,
this concept of drifting and what people might be experiencing, what kind of
hmm,
blocks that they may not
hmm.
have the distinction or the ability to like articulate what is going on with drifting, what's going on with that.
So, if you're not familiar with drifting, it's a term that was coined by Napoleon Hill as he interviewed the devil in the book Outwitting the Devil. Uh, 98% of the population are what Napoleon Hill dubbed as drifters. Only 2% of the population are outside of the devil's control, if you will. These people are non-drifters. Drifters, and I can say this. I've been a drifter. I'm aspiring non-drifter, as I like to call myself, because I'm still battling every day. But drifters, they lack purpose. They eat too much. They exercise too little. They're
Hmm.
indecisive. They they leave unfinished thoughts in their head. They blame others when they don't know. They just lack accountability,
Hmm.
and they let self doubt run their life. Now, non-drifters, on the other hand, non-drifters are those who are inspired. They wake up and um, they wake up with a sparkle in their eye.
Hmm.
They're living a purpose. They're out. They they set their tasks and they accomplish them. They are working on their purpose. They lift others up. They're the people you want to be around. They're the people who make differences in the world.
Dude, that's rad. So if we have the ability to say what of these symptoms am I experiencing? Am I overeating? Am I underworking out? Am I lacking in my discipline? Am I inconsistent? Am I procrastinating? That kind of stuff. Then we can say, okay, that's something that isn't working for us, and we want to become more of the effective, efficient, disciplined, people who have accurate thinking, that kind of thing. Then we can
Mm-hmm.
move more into that. Is that some of the stuff that you go over in your Golden Path coaching?
So yeah, and it is, and it's all about commitment.
Hmm.
It's like, because once you commit to something, once you say, "Hey, I've realized I've been drifting for the 34 years of my life. My
Hmm.
job, I'm unhappy with my job. I'm unhappy with my body, with my spirituality. I'm stuck in life." Once you realize and you become aware that you can change that and it's
Hmm.
possible, that's when the wheels get into motion. But you have to commit, and lately here I've been writing a lot. I've been internalizing things, as you know, we talked about in our mastermind
Yep.
group, and that's powerful because as I'm writing, I'm creating the future highest possible self Brian, the non-drifter version of Brian. I'm writing it down and I'm actually putting it to paper. I'm like, okay, so this is what I'm going through. This is what has held me back. But now that I have the power to hold the pen, I'm crafting my non-drifter version of Brian Jones. I get into all of that inside the Golden Path.
Dude,
Definitely.
that's awesome. We'll dive into that more. I want to talk about the stories that you're writing and what
Yeah.
had you say I want to be a better storyteller. I want to write more effectively. When did you make that decision?
Well, storytelling has always been something that. Did you know? Did you know, Chris, that I wrote a screenplay?
I didn't know
I,
that.
yeah. So back in the day, back about 10 years ago, 10 to 12 years ago, I got out of the Air Force, and I
Wow.
was infatuated with gangster movies, right? Like Goodfellas, Casino, The Sopranos, and I wrote a gangster movie. It was called Life of the Undesirables,
Champion.
and
I love it.
I didn't do anything with it. That yourself was
Well,
dominant
hey,
back
hey,
then.
hey, hold on. You put it to paper. So you
I put it
did
to
do
paper.
something with channeling it, right? You may not have brought it into existence, sharing it and, like mobilizing it to serve other people and really reach and impact other people. I would advise you to say you did what was meant to happen, to be a channel for it at the time. Now, what's it been doing all that time? Well, it's been germinating. It's a seed that you planted in the world, and it's a constant reminder, reinforcement of your identity, that you are here to share stories. You're here to write. You're here to inspire. You're here to communicate. So I think you really get to give yourself credit that you got it done.
I love you, man.
And all these stories that you're writing today are simply the fruits, the leaves, and like, the flourishes of that core seed that you planted so long ago. And now it's like producing fruits, and it will continue to, because you put in that work and completed that and made that a part of your identity, man. That nobody can take that away from you.
Thank you. Yeah, man. I appreciate that. You're right. You're right, man. More recently, with the stories that I've been writing, when I was back in real estate, Ryan Fletcher, he's somebody that I really look up to, and he has a podcast called Agent Marketing Syndicate. And as I was listening to his podcast and what he was saying about storytelling, and how storytelling is one of the greatest skills you can develop for getting people to draw people to you. Recently, I saw Ryan Fletcher's Facebook page, and he was doing a challenge, and everything that he was saying in this challenge was like, man, he's talking to me directly, and it's all about the lesser self, higher self, and I felt challenged to be a part of this challenge.
Yeah.
Like it called to me, and so every day for the past 2 months or so, I've been writing.
Wow.
I've been working. I've been aiming to get 1% better in writing each and every day, and going back to my day one story and just reviewing what I wrote last night, there is that exponential growth. And I can't wait to see where the skill takes me a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years, 10 years from now.
Dang.
You know what I mean?
Dang. That's
So
rad,
that's where
man.
I got those stories, the ideas to actually put down my thoughts, internalize it, write it down. And what's good about these stories is it's content repackaging, repurposing the content. And this is something that is, I'm thinking big with these stories.
Yeah.
Like their stories, yeah, they're like what's going on inside my life, inside of Brian Jones's life at 35 years old. So when Brenna turns 25 years old, I'll have something, a book or something to hand over to her, and she can see, like, I wish my parents would have had a book or something where they were documenting what they're feeling. Like, imagine how strong that relationship will become, like the genuine heartfelt relationships that would happen by peering into your parents, their heart filled stories from back in the day.
Yeah, dude, that's so powerful. And I know Gary Vee talks about documenting your journey. So it's not just, hey, I'm going to take some notes, but I'm going to craft it in a way that compels people to take the next steps or take action, changes their perspective.
And for the longest time, Chris, for a couple of years, when I first got introduced to Gary Vee, I always assumed when he said document your journey, I always kind of thought he meant like, here I am at the Jets training camp, and whatever he does, and like just like my life is so great. But here recently, documenting the journey to me has taken on a whole other meaning. It's about, where am I, like physically, where am I emotionally, mentally, where am I at in business, where am I at with my spirituality, where am I at with my relationships. And when you actually put it to paper, and you can see the progress that you've made, and remember, it's for me, it's a long journey, man. It's a lifelong journey, and so it's a 1%. I'm striving for 1% growth each day. So having it documented on paper, to me is amazing.
Do you find it gets easier to write and
yes,
put these stories to paper?
I'm still finding my style, I guess you will. So I'm big into so I'll watch TV shows.
Yep.
Sopranos, The Wire, these shows that make you think. There's a lot of philosophy in those shows, and I reference them and make it basically relevant to what I have to say. That makes sense.
Well, I think you can always find whatever your source of inspiration is and leverage that and the concepts that you want to go deeper in. Like, for example, I love like quantum physics. I love Esther and Abraham Hicks and like, energy and vibration and manifestation. It's like we can combine our journey, our story with these sources of inspiration, of education, of philosophy that move us. And those people who are like us, then they will also feel that vein of creativity, of perspective, of inspiration to shift their reality.
And so I love what you said there. And also, it helps, excuse me, when I'm writing. I've been really introspective lately. So I was watching El Camino, the Breaking Bad movie, and at the end of it, Jesse Pinkman was having a flashback scene with Walter White, and they're at a diner, and Walter White turns to him and says, "You're lucky, And Jesse's like, "How so?" And Walter says, "You did not have to wait your entire life to do something special." And I paused it, and because I was like, damn, that's really deep. Because if you watch Breaking Bad, the whole thing is he was a teacher and then he does something special. He wasn't special; he became a meth kingpin. But the whole premise is like, don't waste your life, and that's what I took from that simple scene. So if I would have watched that a year ago, I may have just watched it and not internalized that. It may have just went over my head. So there's an importance of getting inside my head and getting inside my heart and putting that to paper. And so it's helped me become more introspective and think about life in a greater scheme than just what's going on around me in my circumstances.
So, in terms of the golden path and living that, how does being able to articulate and reflect on your story help you become the best version of yourself and be on that golden path?
So for that, it's all about becoming aware. Like, so the first step is awareness of where you are and being grateful that you have that awareness. So for me, um, coming out of a very very strong storm in my life, I was speaking with my friend Rachel Gilmore a couple of months ago, a few months back, and just it's funny because the perspectives shift. So for example, when you realize that it's not happening to you, it's happening for you, you can take these storms and learn from them and actually be grateful for them because it's led you to this exact point. So now what the golden path talks about is now that you're at this point, so you've realized that life is happening for you. You have two choices. You can make that commitment to feeding the loving wolf, feeding the higher self, developing the higher self, who you want to become. And it's a journey. Every day you're becoming this. Or you can let the lesser self win, the evil wolf win. So being aware in this moment that you do have a choice. And if you commit all the way. And there's going to be time. And this is what I'm learning, man. This is what I'm learning, Chris. Every day I have to show up. And I'm at the point now where if I don't show up, if I miss a workout, if I miss a writing lesson, it's hard. It's harder for me to miss that than it is for me to do it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
What's going on in there? Is it internally you just feel such like anguish?
You
like,
know
no, I can't miss it.
Because you're gonna let the lesser self win. You're gonna let the lesser self win if you give up. Like if you decide, we all have that negotiator in our head. Oh man, it's raining outside. You don't need to just sleep in an extra 20 minutes. Headset off. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you don't need to write today. You wrote enough. And Chris, and for me, what I'm realizing is it's just consistency. I'm like committed.
Yeah.
And the second I let the lesser self talk me out of being committed, that's a defeat. That's a temporary defeat. I don't call it a failure. I call it a temporary defeat. Non-drifters, we believe that failure is a mindset. So we're all gonna experience temporary defeat, but failure is something totally different. You don't recognize it.
It's a powerful distinction, man. I think a lot of people are striving to reframe failure and like what it means. I think I've talked to you about this, the book, the growth mindset. or is it
Yes.
Mindset by Carol S. Dweck. And she talks about the growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And it's like fixed mindset says like, I'm afraid of failure. And the growth mindset says like, I seek out temporary defeat. I seek out,
Yeah.
challenges and obstacles because I know if I apply more effort, then I can overcome any kind of temporary defeat or setback.
Isn't it ironic, or isn't it funny that all the people, all these 2%ers, all these non-drifters, all the people who make a difference, impact millions, inspire millions, people who make the world a better place, they all have the same opinion of failure.
Mm,
And it's like, don't run from it, embrace it.
mm,
It's gonna like temporary defeat's gonna happen.
yep.
How you react to it is what really matters.
Mm,
Take that seed of equivalent growth or equivalent goodness out of every single temporary defeat.
yeah. Do you think it would be in our highest and best good to eliminate the word failure from our vocabulary, and every time we say failure, say no, temporary defeat, or anytime someone
Yeah,
else says it, we correct it with temporary defeat?
it's temporary defeat because once failure's a mindset. Failure only happens when you admit that you failed.
Mm.
So it depends on, yeah, it depends on your mindset. If you give up, then yeah, I failed.
Well,
But
even
no, it's
Thomas Edison says, "I haven't failed 10,000 times. I've found 10,000 ways
yeah,
to like not make a light bulb." So it's like it's
yeah.
not saying, "Hey, this hasn't been
It
for no
only yeah,
reason, and this is fruitless and it's pointless and I suck."
yeah.
It's saying, "Hey, I found ways that are not the correct route, which is great, and I'm gonna find the correct route."
Dude, imagine if Edison gave up.
Mm,
That would be failure. I
yeah,
mean, hopefully someone else would have invented light or whatever. I don't want to think about that. But imagine if he would have, if he gave up. He was like, "Oh, I'm just a failure. I quit." But nah, he knew something that not many other people knew about. Like
yeah.
he had to keep pressing.
Mm, mm. Powerful, man. I'm curious in this next phase, this next season of life, like who are you striving to become? Like what are the qualities, what are the things that are most important for you to embody as you grow, as you serve more people?
So that's an excellent question, man. So that's something that I think about every day. So who I'm becoming, the highest possible self, the highest version of Brian Jones, the non-drifter. He sets out to inspire.
Hmm.
He sets out to inspire every day. He works out. He takes care of his body. He is a leader. He shows up for his daughters. He's the best father that he can be. He's a great role model. He's a great example for them. He lets them know that they can do anything. He sets the example. I'm speaking in third person because that's who's coming.
That's so
He's the
great,
guy.
man. I think a lot of people really it's in their highest and best good to get more comfortable speaking in the third person because it almost creates like your ability to have the pen in your hand, you're creating your reality. Like Chris Burns, who is Chris Burns? Who is the greatest possible self, Chris Burns? Well, he does all these things. He shows up and he serves. He has such amazing energy. He's crushing it on podcasts. Like when you can detach the I, which sometimes the ego can get in the way of like being so big, so epic, so powerful, so impactful. Like so the ego can pop in with doubts, can pop in with hesitancies, insecurities. But what about that one time when you say I? But when you say the third person, it allows you to just keep channeling, pouring into that identity, bypassing that ego filter, protective filter.
Law of pure potentiality. There's the ego based referral point. This is Deepak Chopra. The
Mm,
ego based referral point. This is where you place your power, if you will. You place your power in objects, money, status, titles, and then there's the true self. This is
mm,
the one that the pure potentiality, the love.
mm,
So when you place your power inside of you versus placing your power on the ego referral based, once those things are gone, your power's gone. But
mm,
if you place that power inside yourself, inside your heart, knowing that you are, you know, a divine spiritual being, the power can't be taken away. And
mm.
so, yeah, can I say something too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, as you were talking, I was chomping at the bit because I have a really bad habit of like trying to interrupt people. So it's something I'm working on. But we're speaking on like uh, speaking in the third person. I have a quick story to tell you. This happened back in March 1st, 2019. I went to go see a friend of mine. Her name is BB
Mm,
Janish. She's a quantum hypnosis healer.
mm,
And at the time I was really depressed. This was probably 2 weeks after I got back from Miami. And when I had put everything down inside the golden path, I was, the the yeah, the lesser self was having a field day. That evil wolf was going to town on me. I had a lot of personal things that was going on. So I went to go see my friend BB.
mhm.
And as she began the session, that ego, the conscious mind was like, this is weird. I'm not doing this. I don't want to do this.
Mm,
That's what I was thinking because she's
mhm.
guiding me through it. Then she asked permission. She was like, subconscious mind, can you move aside? She like asked permission. It worked because before I knew it, as she's guiding me through the session, uh, it's working. And she's like, what do you see now? And I was like, I see darkness. And she's like, do you see anything? Look down. I was like, I don't see anything. She goes, are you alone? I was like, yeah, I'm alone. And she was like, do you want to stay here? I was like, no. And so she took me to a childhood place. This is where I'm under the hypnosis session. So I'm at the
Mhm.
youth center. I grew up on an Air Force base with all my friends in South Dakota. And we were at the youth center playing basketball. And she's like, so where are you at now? And it's like, I'm at the youth center, just finished playing basketball. And notice how I'm still speaking in I's. Uh, I am doing this, I'm doing that. She goes, what are you eating? I'm eating a hot dog. And she was like, okay, what's on the hot dog? It's like, nothing. Because every Saturday we would play basketball, eat hot dogs and stuff, and at the snack bar. And then she's like, well, what are you drinking? And I was like, I'm drinking a suicide. She's like, what's that?
Yes.
And mix all the drinks together. And, so I was like, yeah, I'm drinking a suicide. And she goes, oh, okay. Who else is there? I was like, my friend Bobby Allen's here. And Bobby Allen he was the guy that he hung around with everybody, but he was super annoying. He was always like trying to start fights, and he just ruined the vibe. We
Yep.
still talk about him to this day. Um, and so she led me on to another place, and then eventually we got to the meat and potatoes. She's like, "What's Brian's highest purpose?
Mm.
Or what's Brian's purpose? What's going on? What's the purpose of his depression? What's the point?" And then there was like a silence, and I said, "This is what came out. Brian's highest purpose is to inspire others who are going through depression.
Mm.
Brian's purpose is to use laughter, use comedy to help people who are going through depression." I wasn't saying I. So when you were talking about speaking in the third person, that's real, man.
Mm.
Like there's real power. That's real. The
Yeah.
higher self was coming through. The ego, the subconscious mind, he was gone.
Yeah.
And what was coming through me, I I was just speaking out. And so when you were talking about that, that story came to mind, and I felt like I should share that because there's people out there who probably need to hear that.
Yeah. It's rad, man. I think I'm hearing that we can't. It doesn't serve us to be attached to how things go in our life, and to be open and to be willing
Yeah, that's
to
key.
do new things, to experiment, to explore. I had a Charlotte who was on earlier today talking about like bringing play and wonder and curiosity and
And that
graciousness to everything that we do, man. And like when we do that, we can grow so fast, we can evolve, we can heal, we can transform, transmute anything that's been keeping us stuck because we're not attached. It's in our
Mhm.
rigid societal programming ways that I feel like we get really trapped in these cycles of doing the same thing over again, or trapped in these cycles
Yeah,
of emotions, these low vibrational emotions, and
yeah,
we try to solve it using the thinking that has got us to this point. And so to really break through it, we really get
yeah.
to think at a whole new level, man.
And that was something I took away from that session is play.
Mm,
Because remember I was at the youth center, like I was playing with my friends, man. We lose that as adults. A lot of times we lose that. We get stuck in the monotonous work,
mm,
the stress, the bills, the kids, the family, uh, we lose that, and it's so important to never lose that childlike play, because that's what keeps us thrilled. That's what keeps us like energized and
Yeah.
passionate.
Youthful, man. Like
Youthful.
people
That's
people
the
get
word I was
old
looking for.
because they get so
Youthful. Yeah.
rigid and they think like, oh, I'm getting old. I gotta
Yeah.
be
Deep
angry and
down.
resentful
Mm,
and stressed and tight and overwhelmed. And it's like, no, like free yourself up. Go connect with nature. Go be like a
right.
dog. Just shake yourself out, you know?
Yeah. Detach yourself, man. There's a spiritual law that Deepak Chopra always talks about, is the law of detachment, detaching yourself from
Hmm.
the outcome. Yeah,
Wow.
it's key to that. Yeah, it's like, and so I've made a decision, and I talk about that in the Golden Path too. We gotta have fun.
Yeah.
Retreats that you're doing, the Bali retreat. I mean, that's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of good inner work. It's gonna be amazing. People need that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, I love that. For me, fun has been a big component of my life, and the people that I attract really value it as well. And I think having more time dedicated to play and to fun is essential. It's like to engineer
Yeah,
it back into our schedule. We had recess, we had these times
yeah,
on the playground to go play, because like just being in school, we'd have all this pent up energy listening as the teachers teach us things sitting in a desk. And so to go like get that out, we had playtime. But somewhere along the line, we stopped having playtime. We stopped like
yeah.
literally having it in our schedule. And so I think to re-engineer that, to put that back in, to get out to nature. And I think you're super blessed, man, because you have kids. So you have a really great opportunity to remember what it's like to be a kid again, because you have this interaction with them. You could see yourself. You can see, oh my gosh, like Brenna and Bristol is so free to just be
Yeah.
and like express themselves and just play. And
That
so it,
yeah,
it really reminds you what's possible, man.
it does. Yeah, and I was just even a couple weeks ago, I was at my nephew's birthday party. He just turned 10. Adventure Air Sports. They're playing dodgeball. These kids are just having the time of their lives, and it's like us adults need this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's childlike wonder, they say.
Yeah. Well, I think a big key to that too is like stretching and keeping your body limber and mobile, like so that you can play and show up in those circumstances and not be worried about like
Yeah.
injuries and things. It's like really
Feel the
having,
head, yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's like really having a mobile body is super super critical. So I love that you're working out and stuff too, man. I think that there's a really powerful conversation we can dive into for professionals who are listening and for entrepreneurs in terms of increasing their performance, increasing their effectiveness. We've talked about play. We've talked about being disciplined in terms of showing up consistently day after day. What else? What else do you think they need to know to really create a 2% lifestyle, to create increased performance in their life and their work?
Basically, the mastermind principle
Mm,
comes to mind. Uh, a lot of entrepreneurs try to do it on their own. I know when I was in real estate and trying to do digital marketing and trying to do all these different things, I was by myself. I was
mm,
I was isolated. I didn't have anybody to run ideas off of. I didn't have anybody to lift me up, to challenge me even. So the mastermind principle again, dude, I feel like I'm referencing Napoleon Hill a lot. But he's amazing. But the mastermind principle is like when you get two or minds together and you work towards that definite end.
mm,
Um, so I would definitely recommend that entrepreneur, that business owner, if you're trying to do all of it yourself
mm,
and you're feeling like just completely overwhelmed and like stressed out, you're working, as they say, you're working in your business, not on your business.
mhm.
If you're just feel like you want to give up, connect with a thought people who think the same as you, and a mastermind group is having those people who are inspired and bring you up, and
Yeah.
you can do the same. Uh, that's important. That's very important.
Yeah. Well, dude, what I love about our mastermind, and I've done paid masterminds, which I love doing, and it's like an amazing business model. I also feel that having a mastermind where for me, I didn't need to position myself as the host and having it all
Mm,
together. So I think it can be difficult, especially for a lot of let's say coaches out there who are
yeah,
constantly serving and giving to their clients. That's valuable. And do you have peers who you consistently have calls with. We talk twice a week, and even that, like, I'm sure we could even fit in another call to keep us all like optimized and like firing on all cylinders. But we have 2 calls a week, and that's great. And it's so freaking powerful for us to stay like optimized and high vibe, because like even this week, yesterday, I came on and I shared, man, like life's great, and I'm dealing with a bunch of stuff, like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
stuff's weighing me down, and
Yeah.
just to like be able to share it and get off my chest and have like other dudes who are like vibing high, who are go-getters,
Yeah.
who are able to not judge or criticize or anything like that, but just to allow it to come out and feel like it's a safe space. Dude, so many people just need
Yeah.
that these days, just
Yeah.
need a safe space to
Yeah.
be, man.
Exactly. And I was gonna say that safe place to just, like you said, to just be. I
Yeah.
mean, that's priceless. I mean, that's priceless. Especially, a lot of entrepreneurs are like the type A personalities. They're driven.
Hmm.
They got the guard up. Now, what happens if you can connect with people who are like-minded, like-hearted, who are inspired, and give you that safe space to just be, and to
Hmm.
vent, and to just see what else is out there, right? To not necessarily find that outcome right then and there, but
Hmm.
just be okay in that present moment to
Yeah.
share that space with. It's priceless.
Yeah, and especially
Priceless.
for men, I know you focus a lot on men as well. Having someone, another man who you can share things with, and for women, having another woman who you can share things with is super priceless as well. I know my girlfriend shares a lot of like what's going on with her in her world with me, and I'm grateful to be a safe space for that. And I also share a lot with her. We have really great connection, communication. It's powerful, and at the end of the day, like I can't keep bringing all of my stuff to her, right? Like there's
Yeah.
like psychological thing that happens if she keeps feeling like I'm dumping all my stuff or insecurities and things like that on her. So I bring it to my
Yeah.
tribe of men, I bring it to my counsel, I bring it to my coach, I bring it to my peers who I trust, so that you don't have to weigh down your significant other with all that stuff, because a
Right.
romantic relationship is not supposed to be like where you just go and dump all your stuff, although it can be that at times. Like, get me right, like you want the ability to do that. And like at the end of the day, I think it's really keeping that relationship, that space sacred, sharing what needs to be shared there, whatever it might be blocking communication, to share that. And ultimately, whatever the day-to-day stressors and stuff that you just need to dump out, go share that with like, your brothers, go share that with your
Right.
sisters, and be free of that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's great points.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This is gold, man. I love the mastermind principle. How do people like really attract someone who's a good fit for them, a good partner, a good peer, someone who's vibrating and thinking at the level that they aspire to be at or want to be at more?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. And we talked about this yesterday. I think that there's an energy that you put off, right? Now, if you're putting off low vibrational energy, if you're putting off, law of attraction says that's what's going to come back to you.
Yep.
So for me, what's helped me attract great relationships in my life, friendships, mentorships, coaches, you know, is being authentic and vulnerable, and but with a certain energy.
Yeah.
So I want to attract people who are at the place where I want to be at, whether it's
Hmm.
business, whether it's spirituality, whether it's their physical ability. I want to be there. So I'm putting off this energy, hope in attracting them
Hmm.
to me. Now, once I have them attracted to me, it's up to me to provide reciprocal energy back to
Yeah.
them. And so uh and value as well.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the guy, and don't be that guy who just takes. There's a give and take,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's how you attract people. There's social media out there. Reach out to people and say, hey, I've enjoyed your content. Just make that initial, you know start that conversation.
Mm.
And like, if you see somebody who you want in your life, whether it's a coach or mentor or just a friend, like, show up, bring the energy, bring the value, and what will be will be. Like I
Yeah.
said, though, it, I never force it, though. You know what
Mm.
I mean? You can't. That's not something you can force.
Mm.
So if
The
they're
right
gonna,
the
if
right
they're
people, the right chemistry will vibe with you. Like it's just gonna
yeah,
happen. It's gonna be easy.
it'll happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
it happens, and it happens on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It happens on a daily basis for me, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome, man. I want to hear the difference between Brian a year ago and today. Like what have you
Yeah.
seen change in you? What's the difference of Brian today?
So the Brian, so the Brian a year ago was an idea guy.
Hmm.
He didn't have grit.
Hmm.
He didn't have the moxie. He had a bunch of ideas. He was yeah, ideas for days. But when it came time to do it, when it came time to commit, when it came time to push through the
Hmm.
hardness, Brian from a year ago had the lesser self was dominant. And so the Brian from a year ago, when things got really hard, he was looking for a scapegoat.
Hmm.
Oh, TV's on. Oh, I can't work out today. My back hurts. I don't want to make that call. Brian Jones today has made a commitment to
Hmm.
show up every single day and strive for 1% growth every day in those 5 areas. Brian Jones a year ago was still searching for instant gratification. He was searching for the next shiny object. Uh, the Brian Jones today is committed to the process. He's
Hmm.
committed to the golden path,
Gold.
if you will.
Gold.
Uh, Pun
Now,
intended.
now we're gonna do some creation. We're gonna put that pen back in your hand again and say, what's the difference between Brian Jones today and Brian Jones a year from now? Ooh.
Oh, put me on the spot. Brian Jones a year from now is he's even more into his higher self, his heroic self. He's Brian Jones is greater mind dominant.
Hmm.
The lesser self is less existent
Hmm.
in the Brian Jones a year from now. But Brian Jones a year from now is inspiring more people than he is today. The Brian Jones a year from now has 6-pack abs.
Hmm.
The Brian Jones a year from today has a successful business model that's running, and he's inspiring people, and he's more spiritually uh, you think about the 1% journey each day as
Yeah,
that's a compounded growth.
it's huge.
So 365 days of just showing up, being committed, showing up every single day, 1%. When when a year comes from now, you're boom, boom, boom. Yeah, you just skyrocket.
This is
It's
gold.
a compound effect. So that's Brian Jones a year from today.
Boom. I hear growth. I hear even
Growth.
more
Yeah.
expansive, even more powerful, even more resourceful, even more connected spiritually. What distinctions has Brian Jones a year from now gained?
Explain to me what you mean by distinctions.
Yeah, yeah. So a defining difference, a defining choice, a defining paradigm shift. That version of yourself that's achieved those kinds of results. What distinction has he activated that maybe wasn't activated today?
So we're talking about results, right?
Yep.
So Brian Jones a year from today has results in business.
Hmm.
So basically, what I mean by that, he has impacted people and he has received far more financial compensation that he could ever imagine by doing so. That equal exchange.
Hmm.
So the he's also aiming to get more men's retreats going, and
Hmm.
that's something that he's working on.
So okay, so here's an example. The distinction that Brian Jones 1 year from now is operating from is he already has everything that he needs to do the men's retreat, and that's why he does it. He
I'm glad you
recognizes.
chimed in on that because I was like I still didn't really understand. I was like, what's he?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
And so let me give more examples. Chris Burns, 1 year from now, the distinctions he's operating from is he doesn't need more results to reach out to successful people. he's realized and recognized that he could have done it all along. And it's more about the energy. It's more about caring about people and investing in those relationships than having numbers. Numbers are
Yeah.
important. And the distinction he's operating from is I'm valuable, and building a relationship with me is valuable because I show value first. I contribute first. And so that's a distinction that Chris Burns is like living 1 year from now that's different than how he's operating today.
Yeah, I hear you. So another distinction that Brian Jones a year from now has is he's the importance of showing up every single day, knowing that there there's always going to be there's not going to be that final destination, because every single day he's improving upon the day before.
Hmm.
In relationships, business, physical, emotions, uh, mindset,
Hmm.
and spirituality.
I hear he's unattached to results. He simply shows up, he plays, and he gives his
He
best
plays. There's a
way
lot
more
of
than
play.
ever.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I love it,
A lot
man.
of play.
Yeah, I think that you're doing all these stories, writing all these stories, which is freaking powerful, man. It's like epic. So I want you to quantum create even more in the future. Your 1 year version, your 3 year version, your 5 year version. Like for me, Chris, 10 years from now, right? I'm creating augmented reality personal development games to have people like just kick butt, take names, grow themselves, get rewarded when they give the homeless person on the street a sandwich, generosity experience points, right? And when in the gym doing a rep, doing a whatever it is, every single one getting experience points, getting discounts to their favorite marketplaces and stores and brands, because there's that integration with reality. We're able to track those things. So who the heck does Chris Burns have to be? Well, Chris Burns has to be a master. He is a master at organizing teams and people and effort to be able to accomplish a certain goal. And he knows that he's a master at persuading people for a worthy cause. At this point in my life, Chris Burns, I'm still building up that I'm worthy, that I matter enough. 10 freaking
Mm.
years from now, dude, I'm an unstoppable, charismatic, enthusiastic. You cannot stop me from my vision. Like there's so much
Yeah.
power in that vision because I've demonstrated it to myself time and time again, number one, but also two, like seeing how many lives that I've impacted with the marathon, with my different platforms, with what I've created. I've built up these relationships, and I know if this person says no, then I'm just going to go find someone who is aligned with it, because there's so many freaking people out there who want to bring this vision to life. I just get to put my ass in front of them and sell them on why they get to be a part of it and the difference that it'll make in their lives, in their generation, in their legacy. Freaking A, man.
Bro, you got me all in the fields, bro. You got me all in the fields, man. That's awesome. I'm sitting here, I'm like, yeah, augmented reality. Let's do it. Let's do it, man.
Dude, you have such a capacity for a massive freaking vision, man. So I want you to expand even more with serving men, with doing these retreats. Think about who you get to become, man. Paint that picture. You have the pen. You recognize the power of speaking and writing into existence, man. Yes, document the journey today and pave the path of who you want to become, who you are becoming. Quantum create, like align your destiny with that person and obsess about it every single day. Like cultivate that fire within you every single day and get stoked that you are becoming that, because you do show up every day, man. You do author your story. You are the creator of your reality. And so I think like just embody that even more and be so fired up about where you're going in the future. Ideas, yes, and bring it back to reality and be grounded in now. Say, how do I take one step towards that today?
You know, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you, man. Do you know what you know what I love about you, man? Many things. I like a lot of things about you. What I like about you the most, what I just want you to know, is every single time we talk, whether it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays, whether it's right now, you have this amazing ability to bring out inspiration in others, and me specifically. So every time we're done, like I'll come into a call and maybe my energy's at a 6 or at a 5 or at a 7. By the time I'm done talking with you, it's at like a 12 or 13 or 20. And you have this ability to make people feel good, but feel like it is possible. And so I wanted you to know that because I honor that in you. So thank you for that. You hold me accountable to thinking big.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's an honor. It's an honor to be that encourager, that champion, and you do the same thing for me, man. Like
Thank you. Yeah.
you remind me that whatever I'm going through, like it's okay, and we can work through it, and we just take one step at a time, man. Like just it's really powerful to know that I'm not alone, and you really hold a powerful, loving, safe space for people, dude. It's rad.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank
you're welcome. You're welcome, man. So let's wrap it up. We are powerhouses, blowing it up, making massive impacts in the world, and this golden path, man. Is there anything else that we didn't touch on yet that you really want to drive home, or just final takeaways from the interview, man?
Final takeaways. Like if you're watching this and if you're feeling like stuck, if you're feeling unhappy, play is key. Find that youthful wonder, and commit to the higher self. Know that there's a battle going on inside your head, and you're not alone. Everybody has that same battle. Which wolf are you going to feed? You have that decision. You can make it right now, and commit to writing your own script. Write it from the script of the heroic self, like your future self, the person who your greatest possible self. He's writing the script. Don't give that evil wolf, don't give the lesser self any more power than it's already taken from you thus far. That's my final takeaway.
Be the victor, be the champion, be the creator. And
Yes.
that's what you get access to when you have a conversation with Brian Jones, when you sign up for the Golden Path. Brian, how do they do that? How do they contact you? What's their next steps, brother?
Hit me up on Facebook. Hit me up on Instagram. On Facebook, I'm Brian Jones. Instagram is Brian_Jones Zone. Hit me up. We'll have a conversation, and we'll see if we're a good fit.
Boom. And what can people expect? Who's the right person for the program, man?
The right person for the program is somebody who is at a place in life where they realize that they're stuck. Now, they're at a place in life where they realize that they're stuck, and they are ready to make a change, and they don't want. They understand that it's not going to happen overnight. They're ready to commit. They are ready to commit to a 1% transformational journey from now on.
Boom.
That's the right person.
I hear having a process, having a accountability, having something that they submit to. They're tired of doing it on their own. They're tired of just like wandering. They're tired of like trying to figure it out and feeling like they're not making any progress. So they can come talk to you if they want a plan, a curriculum to become a non-drifter, to become a 2%er, to become someone who is committed and follows through and executes and achieves the life of their dreams. It doesn't happen overnight, but they can start taking the steps today and get clarity around that, get power around that.
Absolutely, man.
Absolutely. Boom, shotgun. Brian Jones, you are a champion. Thank you for being here, brother. And for you listening or watching right now, go connect with Brian. Instagram at Brian_Jones Zone. That's JONESZONE. And also Facebook.com/Brian Jonesetti, BrianJonesetti. And I commented his name on the Facebook Live, so go check him out and grow with him. And Brian, I appreciate you, man. Looking forward to a freaking prosperous, impactful, epic journey together, brother.
You too, man. Appreciate you. Thanks so much.
Awesome. I'll see you soon.
All right, man. Bye.